Hello and welcome to Boost Learning YouTube channel. Learn faster, remember longer and apply better. Presented by Kusal Rizal MST. Today here we are going to discuss about Management Control System MBS 4th semester. Unit 3 Responsibility Centers. Chapter Objectives. 1. Concept and nature of responsibility centers. 2. Criteria for measuring the performance of responsibility center. 3. Types of responsibility centers. 1.1 Concept of responsibility center. A responsibility center is a segment or unit of an organization for which a manager is held accountable for specific financial and operational outcomes. It is a fundamental building block of management control systems. The responsibility centers form a hierarchy. At the lowest level are the centers for section, work and other small organization units. Departments or business units comprising several of these smaller units are higher in the hierarchy. From the standard point of senior management in the board of the directors, the entire company is a responsibility center, though the term is usually used to refer the units within the company. 1.2 Nature of Responsibility Center. It is the practical implementation of decentralization. In a small organizations, one person can control everything. As organizations grow, this becomes impossible. Delegating decision-making authority to lower-level managers is essential. Responsibility centers create a structure for this delegation based on the principle of responsibility accounting. Decentralization of decision making. This is the most fundamental characteristics. Responsibility centers are building blocks of a decentralized organization. Clear definitions of responsibility and authority. For a responsibility center to be effective, its scope must be explicitly defined. The controllability principle. This is the ethical and practical cornerstone of the system. It states that a manager should only be held accountable for what they can control. Existence of segment or domain. A responsibility center is destined identifiable parts of the organization. Goal congruence. While decentralized responsibility centers must not be operated as independent fiefdoms, their goals must align with the overall objectives of organization. Specific inputs and outputs. Every responsibility center consumes a resource. That's the inputs, and to produce something, that's the outputs. Performance measurement and reporting. A responsibility center is meaningless without a system to track and reports its performance. Accountability for results. The manager is answerable for the performance of their center. A responsibility center transforms an organization from a monolithic top-heavy structure into a collection of agile, accountable, and focused units, all driving towards the same corporate vision. 2. Criteria for measuring performance of responsibility center. Performance measurement is multifaceted. The criteria depend entirely on the center's type, but the overarching goal is to evaluate how well the managers uses the resources under their command to achieve organizational objectives. The first one is financial criteria. Absolute numbers, comparing actual results directly against the budgeted figures. A simple variance. Variance analysis, a more sophisticated technique, especially for the cost centers. It breaks down cost variance into price variance, efficiency variance. Financial ratios, profitability ratios, profit margin, return on sales for a profit centers. Liquidity ratios, for an investment center, managers to assess their management of working capital, return on investment, and residual income. The goal is standards for investment centers. The another criteria is non-financial, the critical context. Relying solely on the financial metrics is a myopic approach. Non-financial indicators are leading indicators of the future financial performance. Quality metrics, defect rates, customer returns, scrap rates, customer satisfaction score, efficiency and productivity, unit produced per labor hour, machine downtime, order fulfillment cycle time, innovation, number of new products launched, research and development project completion rates, percentage of revenue from new products, employee development, employee turnover rates, training hours, employee satisfaction scores, market and customer, market share, brand awareness on the time delivery rate. A modern performance measurement system like the balance scorecard integrates these financial and non-financial metrics into a cohesive framework. 3. Types of responsibility center: revenue center, expense center, profit center, marketing center, R&D center, investment center. Revenue center, strategic role to maximize the revenue generations from a given product line, territory, or the customer segment. Managers control, pricing, short term discounts, promotional pricing. Sales mix, deciding which product to push. Sales force management, commission structures, sales territories, training. Advertising and promotion, tactical marketing spend. Lack of control, the manager typically cannot set the best price of the products, often set by the corporate strategy, control the cost of goods sold, or make the significant capital investments. Performance measures: sales revenue variance, actual sales minus budgeted sales. Sales volume and mix variance, analyzing which products drove the revenue change. Non-financial salespersons, number of the new customers, customer conversion rate, average order value. Expense centers. It's crucial to distinguish between the two main types. The first one is engineered or standard cost center. Nature. The relationship between inputs and output is clear, stable, and measurable. Standards can be significantly set. Manager's goal: efficiency to minimize cost for a given quantifiable output. Example: our car assembly plant. We know how much steel, labor, and parts are required to build one car. Performance measurement: heavy reliance on the standard costing and variance analysis of favorable variance. Actual cost is less than the standard cost is seen as a good performance. The another criteria is the discretionary or managed cost center. Nature. The relationship between inputs and the outputs is vague and not quantifiable. The output is often a service or expertise. Manager's goals: effectiveness to provide the best possible service within a pre-approved budget. Cost minimization is not the goal, as it could destroy the quality of the service. For example, cutting all training budgets save money but crimples the future capabilities. Example: research and development, legal department, accounting, human resource. Performance measurement, preliminary budget adherence. Did the manager spend the allocated budget? Secondly, were the qualitative goals met? For example, did research and development file 5 patents as planned? Did HR successfully recruit for the 50 people open positions? Profit center. Strategic role. To act as the stand-alone business within the large corporations, maximizing its profit. Manager's control. The manager has the autonomy to make decisions on the both revenue and expense side to optimize the profit equation. Revenue side, pricing, sales channel and marketing strategy. Expense side, sourcing of the materials, staffing levels, operational efficiencies. Key consideration: transfer pricing. When one profit center sells goods or service to the another within the same company, the price charged is critical. A poorly set transfer price can make one manager look good at the expense of another, leading to suboptimal decisions for the company as a whole. For example, arguments over the cost of IT service provided by an internal IT profit centers to sales division. Performance measures: controllable profit segment margin, revenue minus controllable expenses. This is the fair set measures excluding costs allocated from the corporate over which the manager has no control. Net income, operating income, includes the allocated costs, useful for viewing the division's full cost contributions but less fair to evaluating the managers personally. Marketing responsibility center. The dilemma: it's a revenue center or destination expenses center. Resolution: it depends on the role. A direct sales team is a revenue center. A brand management team is a discretionary expenses center. Its value is in building a long-term brand equity, which is measured by market share and brand tracking studies, not just the next quarter's sales. Performance measurement. A mix is essential. Use a portion of the sales team's compensation as a variable cost tied to revenue. For brand marketing, evaluate the based on budget management and non-financial KPIs like market share, media reach, and website engagement metrics. Research and Development Center. The fundamental challenge: the payback period is long and uncertain. A successful research and development project might not generate revenue for 5 to 10 years. Performance measurement cannot be based on short-term profit. Input measures. R&D budget is a percentage of sale. Process measures: number of projects in pipeline, milestone adherence. Output measures: number of patents filed, number of new products, technology developed. Ultimate outcome measures: percentage of company revenue from the products launched in the last 5 years. The next responsibility center is investment center. This represents the highest level of decentralization and the managerial autonomy. Strategic role: to generate a return on the capital invested in the segment, justifying the continued allocation of the company scarce resources. Managers control: full profit and loss responsibility, revenues and expenses, plus significant authority over the level and the types of assets used. The managers can decide on the capital expenditures like a new machine, inventory levels, and the credit policies like the accounts receivable. Performance measures. This requires the most sophisticated metrics. Like first one is the return on investment, ROI. This is the versatile ratio that can be broken down to provide the deep insights. The formula DuPont model: ROI equals to operating income divided by sales into sales divided by average operating assets. Return on investment is equals to profit margin into assets turnover. DuPont analysis breakdown. Profit margin measures how efficiently the center covers the sales into the profit. It's a measure of control over cost. Assets turnover measures how efficiently the center uses its assets to generate the sales. It is the measure of control over assets utilization. Strategy insight. This breakdown allows our managers to understand the source of their return on investment. A luxury goods store might have a high profit margin but a low assets turnover, few sales per square foot. A discount supermarket might have a low profit margin but a very high assets turnover. Both could achieve the same return on investment through the different strategies. The another method or calculations under the investment center is residual income. The solution to sub-optimization. Residual income directly measures the economic value added by divisions after covering the cost of the capital used. The formula is residual income equals to operating income minus required rate of return into the average operating assets. You will have the separate slide for the numerical solution later. Thank you and best wishes for your upcoming futures.